So, YNW Melly's case somehow, someway resulted in a mistrial. The jury just couldn't come together and decide whether this guy was innocent or guilty. The murder trial of YNW Melly ends in mistrial after jury deadlocks. Retrial likely. Fort Lauderdale AP, a deadlocked jury prompted a mistrial Saturday in the South Florida trial of rapper YNW Melly on charges that he murdered two of his friends 5 years ago. The 12-member panel could not reach a unanimous verdict after 3 days of deliberations. Broward County prosecutors who had been seeking the death penalty will likely choose to retry the case with a new jury. A unanimous verdict is required to convict or acquit a defendant. Broward Circuit Judge John Murphy twice asked the jurors to keep deliberating after they said they were deadlocked, but relented after they came back a third time. Prosecutors say YNW Melly, whose legal name is Jamel Demons, shot Anthony Williams and Christopher Thomas Jr. while they were still inside of a Jeep. Williams and Thomas were both a part of the YNW collective, known respectively as YNW Sack Chaser and YNW Juvie. So, the fact that people are the fact that someone on the jury thinks that this guy isn't guilty boggles my mind. Who do you think did it? We know it wasn't a drive-by, because these two guys won't say who it was. Who was it? Who were you beefing with that was so intense that you think they were the ones who tried to kill you? Your life is on the line. Don't hit me with that, oh, they're snitching though. Your life is on the line. They're accusing you of having killed your own friends. You're not going to sit there and say, bro, it was so-and-so who shot my friends. You're not going to say that? You're just going to sit there and just take the L? Are you crazy? Because I wouldn't. If I truly loved my friends and they were killed in a drive-by shooting targeting us, I'm not going to sit there and take the fall on some sort of street code shit. You killed my friends and now I'm going to take the fall and go to prison for you? No. There's a reason why there's no answer to who would have possibly wanted to kill all four of these guys. Okay, so let's look at the evidence. Let's look at the evidence against Melly, okay? Let's look at the evidence against him. YNW Melly accused of staging a drive-by shooting and double murder case. According to court documents obtained by Billboard on Wednesday, February 27th, police are alleging that Melly and his accomplice, Cortland Henry, otherwise known as YNW Portland, attempted to stage the October 26 killings as a drive-by. Okay? So it says this. YNW Melly remains behind bars after being denied bail following his February 13th arrest by the Miramar Police Department on double murder charges for fatally shooting two of his best friends and fellow YNW crew members, Christopher YNW Juvie Thomas Jr. and Anthony YNW Sack Chaser Williams. According to court documents obtained by Billboard on Wednesday, February 27th, police are alleging that Melly and his accomplice Cortland Henry attempted to stage the October 26 killings as a drive-by shooting. Investigators have concluded that they believe shots rang off from inside the Jeep Compass that Cortland drove both Sack and Juvie to the hospital in, rather than bullets coming from the outside, which Cortland originally told authorities. Now, mind y'all, it didn't say that Portland and Melly drove these guys to the hospital. Melly is nowhere to be found. No, he's gone. Which is really coincidental given the fact that Melly was in the left side of the back seat. The casings were found in the left side of the back seat. It's really, really funny that Melly isn't the shooter to someone in this jury. Think about this. Why the fuck are there shell casings inside the car? Why? If you were being shot at by someone else, the shell casing should litter a different side of the street. The side of the street from which you were shot at from. There should be no shell casings anywhere near the inside of the car. There should be no shell casings in the inside, but somehow, some way, magically, it's not Melly. If it ain't Melly, it's got to be Portland. So someone did it. Someone did it, and I think that these two planned it. So here's the thing. Evidence from the autopsy revealed that both victims' wound paths to their heads were from a left to right direction. The docs reportedly read. This directly contradicts the statements made by Henry and do not support the statements of a drive-by shooting that occurred on the right side of the vehicle. Cops also say that a single .40 caliber shell casing was found inside of the vehicle on the floorboard of the left rear passenger side, which would indict Melly, born Jamel Demons, as the gunman. Law enforcement unearthed footage from the night of the murders, October 26th, that found the Murder on My Mind rapper entering the left rear passenger side of the Jeep Compass when leaving a studio session with Juvie, Sack Chaser, and Cortland. So, bro, How on God's green? That means Melly more than likely touched some of the casings and removed them from the back. I don't know why he forgot that last one. But if the round matches the wound, and the shell casing matches the round, and the shell casing is found on the left side of the rear passenger seat, I'm struggling to understand how it ain't Melly when Melly's the one who took that seat. Melly's the one who chose that seat, but it ain't Melly though. Melly didn't do it. What fan is on the jury? Bro, the jury is compromised. There is a fan in there somewhere who just will not accept the fact that this guy did it. It's so obvious. Furthermore, your boys get shot up in a drive-by. Neither of you are wounded, despite the fact that the wounds are from the left to right, not from the right to left. Right? And bullets, based upon how far they travel, create different types of damage within the body. Right? A bullet that hits you from point blank range is not going to have the same damage as a bullet that hits you from a distance further than that. It does different things to the body. How is it that the wounds don't contradict the idea that Melly did it? Right? Melly and Bortland have no theory of who could have possibly done it to them. Melly is missing when Bortland brings the bodies to the hospital. Somehow he's just magically not there. Melly enters the car from the back, from the left rear passenger side. Around a shell casing is on the rear passenger side. Bro, who did it? Who could possibly be on this jury and think, reasonable doubt? What? What reasonable doubt could there possibly be? The docs also find police statements affirming that Melly and Bortland had driven around with the bodies for a period of time, trying to come up with a plan to deceive law enforcement. Before bringing Sack and Dewey to the emergency room of Miramar Hospital at 4:35 a.m. Eastern Time, where they were pronounced dead upon examination. Prosecutors unveiled a recent Snapchat conversation Melly had with one of his multiple girlfriends, where police believe he was hinting at the murders when explaining why Cortland would always need to be kept around. This nigga saved my life. He coming everywhere with me because of them crackers. Come grab him. It's my fault you forgot. Hold on, let me reread that. I'm sorry. This ninja saved my life. He's coming everywhere with me because of them crackers. Come grab him. It's my fault you forgot. So, what activity did YW Melly and YW Bortland engage in that could render either of them guilty of a crime? Right? What activity did these two guys take part in which one or the other would be guilty of? Because they're saying someone in the jury thinks Melly didn't do it. So who did it? It wasn't a drive-by. The only final suspect here is Bortland. It's Bortland. But the police apparently didn't find any shell casings on Bortland's side of the whip. Then we got Melly saying he saved his life, right? He's saying that Bortland saved his life, and if these crackers come grab him, it's his fault, right? So he's basically saying, Bortland, if he gets grabbed up, I'm at fault because I'm the one who pulled the trigger. It wasn't him. Melly said, keep Bortland with me because at the end of the day, he did one of the realest shit in my life. Okay, that's not really an indicting statement. We don't really know what he means. For all we know, he could have bought Melly a pizza on a bad day. We don't know what happened. You know, Bortland could have done anything. He could have done anything. We don't know. But that first sentence, oh yeah, that's crazy. Now I'm automatically thinking, okay, so what did you do? What did you and him do that would make these crackers come grab him and make it your fault? What did y'all partake in? Melly and Cortland will remain in Broward County Jail for the foreseeable future until their cases are brought to trial. Before the death of Sack and Juvie in October, Melly got both of their names actually tattooed on his face. The 19-year-old has also been linked to the shooting of Vero Beach deputy Gary Chambliss in 2017 by law enforcement. Since the mixed personalities artist was arrested, his Murder on My Mind track has skyrocketed to number 14 on the Billboard. It looks like what's going to end up happening is, now that we've seen this mistrial, the prosecution is more than likely going to retry the trial. They're going to see if they can retry again, and they're going to try to get a new set of jurors, and they're going to come at YW Melly again. I don't know what new evidence they can bring. They've had 5 years to bring the necessary amount of evidence to get this guy locked up, and yet someone in the jury feels like the evidence isn't sufficient. I don't believe Melly's innocent. I don't. You and your buddy got in the car behind him. There's a shell casing where you were sitting. Your boys got shot from left to right. You guys exited the vehicle, shot it up, and the most moronic thing they did was shoot the vehicle from the back. You do know you two were sitting there, right? You were sitting in the back. So if your area of the vehicle was shot up, why are the two of you not dead, not wounded, but your two friends are the only ones who died with just mightily just coincidental bullet trajectory coming from Melly's side of the vehicle? On top of that, YNW Melly was missing when YNW Portland brought the vehicle to the hospital. Why was Melly missing? Then you find the text messages of Melly saying stuff like, Portland going with me everywhere because I trust Portland, and if these crackers come lock him up, it's going to be my fault, blah, 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 blah. Ultimately, my point being is this. Do I believe Melly did it? Yes. Do I think the prosecution has proved beyond a reasonable doubt that Melly did it? No. When you see, weapons missing, time missing, the police can't even tell us for how long specifically YW Melly and Portland drove around with the bodies. We don't even know what happened in between that time. We don't have a time frame of the shooting itself. There are so many gaps that for, I guess, some reason, people in the jury believe that they cannot, without a shadow of a doubt, say that Melly did it. Now, I think that if Melly didn't do it, the only reasonable, logical next suspect is Portland. But there is no hard, concrete evidence to suggest that there was any drive-by shooting, especially given the fact that the back of the vehicle was shot up, right? The back of the vehicle was shot up. How could bullets go through the back of the vehicle, whether you shot from the front or the back? How could the glass of the back of the car be just splattered down? Neither of you two were hit or killed in any way, shape, or form. How? So ultimately, the prosecution just hasn't come up with the right amount of evidence. Besides Melly having gotten into the car on camera and his phone having been there, for some people in the jury, they've decided that's not enough evidence. There's a gap of time in which we don't know what specifically happened. Now, I think that it's not a coincidence that Melly's in the car, his phone's in the car. It wasn't anyone else using it but him, right? Even if Melly didn't commit the crime, the only logical suspect is Portland. The only one. So, a jury, probably someone in the jury does not feel comfortable basically sentencing YNW Melly to death, because he's on there for the death penalty, with evidence that they deem to be insufficient, right? Insufficient evidence of what happened in between YNW Melly and the rest of his team leaving that studio and YNW Portland showing up to the hospital with two dead bodies. What happened? However, it's not a matter of what you know, it's a matter of what you can prove. Do I think Melly's innocent? No. I don't believe that there's any sort of evidence that alludes to the idea that Melly and Portland were shot at by another entity, a third party. There's just no evidence to prove that. Most of the behavior that Melly and Portland engages in alludes to the idea that one of the two of them committed this murder. However, there are enough holes in the case that people feel comfortable believing that, YW Melly probably isn't guilty. And that's just the reality of the situation. Then you have stuff going on like the lead detective threatening witnesses to testify against Melly. The prosecution doesn't know when these guys were shot, what area the car was in when these guys were shot. They don't really have any proof of anyone else not having been in the area when these guys were shot. They can't really prove that it was Melly without a shadow of a doubt. Now, I don't think, based upon anything the defense has stated, that there's any sort of third party that could have done it. There is no reasonable doubt that Melly or Portland did it. I don't believe that there's any scenario in which someone else did it. However, when you're asking people to sentence someone else to life in prison or death, a lot of people are uncomfortable with that. Some jurors may look for the slightest bit of holes in the story to justify why they don't want to put someone in prison or to the death penalty. Then there is a chance that someone in the jury could be a fan who refuses to let Melly get locked up. Ultimately, what I think is going to happen is that they're going to go for the trial again, and Melly's probably going to be found guilty. I don't believe that there's any sort of real genuine case for the idea that someone else committed this crime. I think it's very, very obvious that Melly and his friend did this. There's no evidence to prove it, but it's not what you know. Again, it's what you can prove. And if they can't prove that Melly did it, Melly's gonna walk. Melly's gonna be a free man. But hey, it is what it is. That's what's happening right now. Let me know what y'all think in the comment section below. Like, comment, subscribe. I'm out.